You refer to people in the north being made big promises that come to nothing. You're here today, but 5 months ago, you announced a huge infrastructure splurge based pretty much entirely on London and the South East, the areas that are already doing the best. Isn't it the case that for the Treasury, the North is an afterthought? And also, if I may, more uncertainty about tariffs today. Isn't it the case that Donald Trump's vagaries are proving to be the stuff of nightmares for you?
So the announcements we've made today is an uplift at 2.4 times more spending in this Parliament on these regional mayoral transport settlements compared to the settlement in the last Parliament. That is a substantial uplift, which is what makes possible the investments that I've announced today in extending existing tram networks, building new tram networks, new buses, new stations, are all possible because the investment in the North and the Midlands that I'm setting out today. And this is just one part, £15.6 billion, of a £113 billion uplift in public investment that I'm going to be setting out in more detail. And of course, it also comes on top of the investments through the National Wealth Fund, investments in places like Sunderland, which I announced just a couple of weeks ago, in a battery factory for electric vehicles. It comes on top of the commitment to carbon capture and storage, more than £20 billion of public and private investment in Merseyside and in Teesside. So we're committed to growth everywhere. And one, I think, indication that this is not just about one-off announcements, but about a whole different approach is the fact that we're changing the Green Book. And as said in the speech, it might sound dry, but it's the excuse that government have used for years to say, oh, we'd love to do this, but it's not good value for money. Well, it's only not good value for money because you've written the rules that way. And we're changing that. And we're changing that because that is what our mayors asked us to do. They said they don't want handouts. They don't want a Labour government doing them favours. They want us to take seriously their investment propositions. And that's what the reforms that I'm going to be setting out in full detail next week will enable us to do. So it's not just a one-off decision, this is about a whole different way of doing things. And let me say something about the tariffs. It was welcomed today by UK Steel that we have an exemption on the 50% steel tariffs that Donald Trump is bringing in. They will apply to every country in the world apart from Britain. That is because of the negotiating that Johnny Reynolds and his team at DBT have led, but also because of the work that our Prime Minister has done in building that relationship and setting out the case for Britain with the President of the United States. Now, we have 25% tariffs on steel today, but we've signed a deal, we've done a deal with the US that will bring those down to zero. That is good for British steel, but it is also good for Jaguar Land Rover and other car manufacturers and other industries in the UK. And we are still the only country that has done a deal with the US, but not just with the US, also with India, which helps many industries, including Scotch whisky, where tariffs have more than halved. And the deal with the EU, which helps our farming sector in particular, but also other parts of the economy. So 3 trade deals, the National Wealth Fund, reforming the Green Book, reforming how our pension system invests in British assets, all with the sole purpose of making Britain better off so we can make working people right across our country better off.